everyone, welcome back to my channel, Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. My name's Alice and today I'm going to be attempting the Booktube Newbie Tag. Hi everyone, my name's Alice and today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I just started my channel a couple of weeks ago, so I thought I'd better participate in this rite of passage for new booktubers, and I'll be answering the questions which I have here and hopefully telling you a bit more about myself. So question number one is, why did you start this channel? I started this channel because I've been watching Booktube and enjoying hearing everybody talk about books. I love talking about books, and at the moment I mostly do that with my mum. Occasionally my husband, but he's into his audiobooks, so it's a bit more difficult to talk to him about books these days. And my other motivation for starting the channel was that I have accumulated over 200 books that I haven't read over the years, and this year, like I do many years, I decided I really need to stop buying books and read the books that I have. And I felt like if I start a booktube channel, not only will I be able to talk about books which I love, I'll also be able to hold myself accountable. If I tell all of you how many books I've got and that I'm not buying books, then I have to stick to it. And I would love for all of you to join me on my adventure trying to read my way through 200 books and see how I get on. That brings me nicely on to question number two. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I think some of the fun and unique things that I'm going to bring to Booktube are that I have quite eclectic reading tastes, and within those over 200 books there is a huge variety of things to read. If anyone had told me a couple of years ago that in 2020 there would be a whole year of staying at home, no bookshops open, no libraries to go to, I would have thought I would actually read my way through what I had at home. Not all 200 books, there's no way I would read 200 books in a year, but I thought I would really make headway. So when I didn't, I was a little bit disappointed with myself, and this year I want to try again. But I suppose my channel will offer a chance to check out what I've been buying over the years. I'd like to tell you about some of the series that I've loved best and talk you through some of my favourite book characters and authors. So I don't know about fun and unique, but I am certainly planning to talk to you all about books a lot. They will not be the books that everybody else is talking about necessarily. I used to be a teacher, and one of my favourite things about teaching was passing on a love of reading, recommending books to other people. I always thought that I missed my calling as a librarian. So. Question three is, what are you most excited about for this new channel? I think I've already started to ramble on about this a bit, but I'm very excited to meet new people and talk to new people all about books. I'm excited to share my reading, I'm excited to share my books and help other people find books that they would like to read too. I guess I'm just really excited about the whole venture really. I've got lots of ideas of what I'd like to put onto Booktube, and I hope that some of the things that I'll put out will be things that you will enjoy watching and will talk to me about afterwards. I suppose the final thing that I'm most excited about for starting this new Booktube channel is to read more books. What could ever be more exciting than reading more books? Question four, why do you love reading? This is a really hard question. I think I love everything about reading. I love books themselves in their physical forms, so I'm not really much of a ebook reader. I don't own a Kindle. I don't think I ever will own a Kindle at this point in time. So it's all about the books for me. I've loved books ever since I was a child, ever since before I could even read. Books have always just fascinated me, and I think one of the best things about books is if you're reading one and you don't like it, you know there's always another good one around the corner. Somebody's always written something that you can read and enjoy and pass on to people and talk about. And I love the fact that reading is a very solitary activity, but it can also bring lots of people together as well. And I love the way no two people will ever have the same experience of the same book necessarily. I love the escapism of reading. I love reading to learn new things. I just love sitting down, getting absorbed in a book, that feeling when you don't want to do anything else anymore because you are so into your book that you cannot put it down, and nothing gets done around the house because you're too busy reading. I love that feeling, and I love the excitement of a new book, and the excitement when you are only 100 pages from the end of a book and it's getting really, really interesting. Yeah, I love everything about reading. So question number 5 was, what book or series got you into reading? I thought really long and hard about this question, and it's a really tricky one. I feel like I've been into reading for so long, and before I was into reading, I loved having books read to me. We always had bedtime stories when I was a child. Some of the brilliant series my mum read to us when we were little were The Borrowers, Susan Cooper's amazing Oversea Under Stone books, just all sorts of really exciting old books. I loved Janet and Alan Allberg's books as a child, the Happy Families series. It's really happy memories of growing up with those books, the Topsy and Tim books as well. But in terms of getting me into reading myself, probably the earliest series of books that I can remember reading for myself were the Famous Five series by Enid Blyton. I can remember sitting behind the sofa for some reason in my old house when I was a child reading the Just William books that I'd got out of the library. I couldn't put those down. So various things over the years. When I was getting a bit older in high school, I was reading more point horror books and Christopher Pike, classic sort of teen horror, crazy books. And I really loved the author Robert Cormier as well at that age. All of those series really, but no one book in particular. Question 6. What questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? What intrigues me the most about Booktube and booktubers is, how do you find the time to read all these books at the same time as making all these videos? So if you're a booktuber out there, my question for you is, how do you do it? I find that so far, and I've only made a few videos, I find that I get so involved in making the videos that I then think, oh, I haven't actually got time to read that TBR that I have just made a video about. If you are a booktuber and you're working a job full time and you are still finding time to read loads of books, I give you all my respect, because I am so easily distracted at the moment. Which brings me on to question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? This is a tricky question too, but I think the hardest thing for me to overcome is the level of distractions. So if I'm making videos, I don't want that to be a massive distraction to actually getting reading done. So I suppose the biggest challenge that I think there will be is having the motivation still to be reading as well as making the videos, because obviously I won't be able to make the videos without the reading. So I think the main barrier is going to be, how much reading can I get done? The other challenge I think will be hardest to overcome starting a booktube channel is that I'm a very naturally shy person. It's very out of my comfort zone to put myself on camera like this, particularly talking about myself rather than books. I'm hoping the discomfort and the amount that I say is going to go down over time. As I get less embarrassed to be on camera, hopefully the videos will get better. Fingers crossed. It's all a bit scary, so bear with me. Question 8. When did you start reading? So I think I've touched on this a little bit already. it's so hard to quantify when did you start reading, because I feel like I've been reading my whole life. I don't actually remember learning to read, although I do remember some things about being in reception at school. We used to have little old tobacco tins, they were, with a label on that said words. And into the word tin, which you kept in your little drawer, were all the words from your reading book that you couldn't read yet. So we'd read our little Roger Red Hat book from the 1, 2, 3 and Away series, which is what I learnt to read with. We'd read our Roger Red Hat book and words would be written on a little slip of card. So hat would go into your word tin until you could read the word hat. And then once you read the word hat correctly, I don't know if you had to do it more than once, that piece of card would be taken back out of your tin and a new word would probably go in from the next reading book. Anyway, that's getting sidetracked. So I suppose I started reading at school when learning to read. But even before that, I can remember knowing the Janet and Alan Allberg book, Each Peach Pear Plum, which is one of my favourite children's picture books of all time. I knew that book off by heart before I could read, so it's really hard to say how long I've been reading. As an adult, I don't think there's been a point where I've really stopped reading as such. When I was 16 was when I first started keeping a list of all the books I'd read. I wish I'd kept a list sooner, but by the time I was about 23, I was keeping like a whole book of books record of the books I was reading instead of just a list. I don't know, I've been reading forever. Question 9 is, where do you read? I think the answer to this is anywhere that I can read. I like reading in bed, although at night time I find that if I do any reading in bed I tend to fall asleep quite quickly. I like to listen to audiobooks in bed, and I like to listen to audiobooks when I'm cooking or when I'm doing other chores, so that I've still got reading on the go. But mainly I tend to read on my sofa in my living room or in this armchair. If we get any nicer weather ever, read outdoors, read in my garden. I'll read anywhere really, anywhere comfy. Question 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? As I've said, I read quite an eclectic mixture of books. But if you ask me what kind of books do you like to read, I would say crime, specifically mystery books. It's always been the element of mystery that's really intrigued me. So I absolutely love reading crime. Agatha Christie is one of my absolute favourite authors. I've already made one video about Agatha Christie on this channel and I intend to make more. So I really enjoy classic crime. I really enjoy modern crime. Ian Rankin really brought me into crime in the first place. His Rebus books are just amazing, and so far I've not found, I don't think, another detective series that I've really thought was as well written as the Rebus books. But I do love other detective stories, other crime that is going more into the thriller side of things, so Lee Child, the Jack Reacher books. I love things like Nikki French, the sort of suspenseful mystery, crime, drama-y type thing, particularly the Frida Klein series, which I absolutely loved. I really like sort of dystopian, post-apocalyptic type books. I'm not really ever sure what category those fall into, but The End of the World Running Club is one of my absolute top favourite books. I really like anything with a dystopia in, which is strange because I suppose one of my greatest fears when I was younger was the end of the world. But I actually find it now quite comforting to read kind of end of the world type things, although maybe not since the pandemic, when it seemed a little bit more inappropriate to be reading those. I do read the occasional classic, but it's not something that I've been traditionally very into, but I find myself becoming more and more interested in reading older books that I haven't read before, just to see what they're like. And I like reading sort of classic children's books, and I've read quite a bit of YA in the past. To be honest, I'm not really that fussy. I will try most things in terms of reading. Quite like some horror, nothing too horrible, but some horror I've really liked. You name it, I'll read it really. And the final question, we've made it. Final question is, what does your book collection look like? As you can imagine, as a person with more than 200 books, my book collection looks quite large. I I think it's 214 books at the moment that I haven't read. There's those, and there's also all the other books that I've acquired that are books I have actually read. I tend to only keep books if they are a particular favourite and I think I will read them again, or if it's an author I particularly like, I would maybe be tempted to keep their book even if it wasn't one of my favourites, because I always think that if I did reread the series I would be missing a book if I got rid of one. I am a bit of a hoarder overall, not just a book hoarder, so I suppose my book collection looks pretty out of control. Maybe you'd like to see me sorting out my bookshelves. If you would, comment down below. I do have plans to try and get some of the oldest books from the TBR off the TBR, and for some of those I have got a suspicion that will mean unhauling them and getting them out of the house as well. So yeah, my book collection looks big, and hopefully it will be getting smaller over the course of this year. We've reached the end of the questions, everybody. We got through it in the end. Thanks for watching me stumble through the Booktube Newbie Tag. I hope you enjoyed it, and will give it a like and maybe subscribe to my channel if you like what you heard. I'm open to suggestions for other bookish videos that I could make, so please do comment down below. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.